Um, all right, so my presentation is for modifications and interventions of instruction. The scenario that I chose was scenario number 6. 3 new students are added to your class in mid-October. These two girls and a boy recently immigrated from Honduras to your community. They have adequate conversation skills in English, but minimal amounts of academic language or background academic skills. Which fellow faculty member will you consult and collaborate with to serve these students? What assessments are appropriate for you to establish a baseline for these children? What goals will you establish for these children, and how will you collaborate with your partner and meet these goals? Alright, I chose this scenario because I do work a lot with EL students. I see I do see that when they come to us at a point in the year, it could be mid-October, it could be mid-December. It's rare for them to come in December, but normally they come like in mid-January, between mid-January and mid-February. That's when our kids come, when they come to us to Cedar Grove. I do see that when they do come to us at any point of the school year, they struggle a lot in the academic language. This can be at any grade level, which I teach middle school through high school. Since this is like I said, this is where I normally work with. They do have some knowledge in English, but not a whole lot. So when they come to me, and they're between middle school and high schooler students, they come with a little knowledge of English, but not a whole lot, and they're very strong in their native language. It's rare if I have students who are low in their native language and in English, or like no English at all, but normally all the kids I have are pretty good with their native language, and then we just build on transferring all of the stuff that they know to English. That's why I chose this. Who would I collaborate? I would collaborate with the teacher that the student has, since each of their needs are going to be different depending on the grade level and where they are. They are going to need different things from the both of us. If we work together, the students will become more successful in their classes. Like I was saying, I would collaborate with the teachers that each of the students have. So like for middle school, when I work with my middle school students, they have a homeroom teacher. They have like a teacher that is assigned to them. So depending on who they have, I will collaborate with like their homeroom teacher. If they're struggling like in ELA and math or in science or in social studies, then I would go to that specific teacher. Normally I collaborate with the ELA teacher because that is the area where they're getting a lot of exposure to the English language, like the vocabulary, the grammar, the all of that phonics stuff that they are learning or that have prior knowledge to. I normally collaborate with them. At least that is what I do in the middle school. I collaborate with the ELA teacher. When it comes to the high school, well, that's a little different, because at the high school, each student, they don't have a homeroom like they do at the middle school level. They just have like all of their content teachers. So like if I have a student that comes in and they're really low, then I try to pick one teacher to collaborate versus all 8 teachers to do a collaboration. And collaborating with the high school staff or high school teachers, it's a little bit more easier because I can pinpoint to like the math teacher. Like if my students are in algebra, then I go and I talk to the algebra teacher to figure out how can we make the student either pass the class, or some things that we can change for the student. I know sometimes not a lot of high school teachers have a lot of accommodations for the students, so then that's where I try to help come in and help them as much as I can with a one-on-one during a study hall. But I do like talk with the teachers, and they come to me and they're like, Kathy, how can I do this for this student? Is it appropriate if I take this out and do this instead? So like they do come in and they ask me for help, so we do collaborate. And I see a lot of the collaboration up at the high school more versus when it's kind of at the middle school. Why is it important to talk to the teachers? To me, it's important to talk with them because they're the ones who they see the students mostly almost often. But as the EL teacher, we also know that we also know them more, where they are with their English, and it's also nice to talk. It's important to talk to the teachers because since they see them on a weekly basis or every other day, depending if they have A and B days, it's important to talk to the teachers because since they see them more often, they can see where the students are struggling. I, as the EL teacher, I might only see or I have probably knowledge where yes, I see that they do struggle with English, but what are some other areas that you think they also struggle with? And if they mention a struggle, and when I'm working with them on one-on-one, if I see that same struggle, then there are some ways that we can both talk and be like, you know what, I see that you see that struggle, but I also see that struggle. So what is one thing that we can do to help fix that struggle? So even though they see them more on an academic level with the content level that they're teaching, and I see them to help them improve their English, but if we see the same issue, there's a way that we can close the gap and try to fix the issue so it doesn't become a major issue later on, depending on if they're in middle school or high school. That's why I think it's important to talk to the teachers. That's all I have. But one of the things that I didn't add was some of the accommodations, or what are some activities or strategies that I would use with my students. What I'm using now is the program of Just Words. So Just Words focuses on the phonics of the English language. So it's just kind of like practicing words, recognize letters, recognize their sounds, building words with the letters that we have, and how do each letters change depending on the sound that the letter has. Is it a short vowel? Is it a long vowel? All of the important rules of English that they don't have or don't have exposure to, then that's one of the strategies that I would use, or that I am using, is the Just Words program. Another strategy that I'm using with my students now is called Equipping ELs, and that also focuses not so much on the phonics part of English, but mostly on the grammar. So we do talk about vocabulary, we review vocabulary, we go over what's a verb, what's a noun. So it goes into the other depth of the English language as well. So it's not only just the phonics part, which is also important, but also teaching them the grammar side of English as well. Those are the strategies that I would use. And the goal is for them to build on their English knowledge and have them eventually be proficient in English, where they have less translated materials and more materials in English, and not having me always by their side trying to help them out. So those would be my strategies for my EL students, and my goals as well is for them to become proficient readers and writers and speakers of the English language. And that's all I have. Thank you.